You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop.
Good evening and welcome to the show. I'm Doug Thompson. Well, about 14 and a half years ago, I met this young man who was pretty instrumental in getting me to do what I'm doing today. And I think without him, I probably would not be sitting here today. But he is joining me today as our special guest host, and he is part of Louisville Catholic Sports. And joining me now, my co-host, Jeff Woods. Jeff, how are you?
It has not been 14 years. There's no way.
Yeah, actually, we started late or mid-2006, so 14 years and a little bit.
Oh,
and you've gotten a little bit older. I have stayed the same. I haven't aged a bit because
no,
when you don't have
not
much,
at all.
when you don't have much hair to begin with, there's not a lot of things that you can gauge.
Right.
But it is great to see you, and I'm tickled pink that you're here today with me to help out with this show. We were talking a little bit off air, and you and I had only met a couple of times before we did our first show. And of course, you professional, you had done it for a number of years. I had not, but I remember that first show vividly because we introduced ourselves. You talked about yourself. It was my turn to talk about myself. I got about 3 or 4 words into it and then cottonmouth. It was a physiological takeover of my body. I couldn't speak, really. It was terrible, but grew into the role kind of, and it was a lot of fun. But it's great to have you here. I know that you're up with Louisville Catholic Sports, but you do keep an eye on what's happening in the 4th region.
Well, when you live down here as long as I did, and I graduated from WKU in 2005. I was here, working in Bowling Green all the way through about the middle part of 2014.
Yeah.
So you get to know the area. I was ingrained for so long. It's hard not to check in on how things are going down here. And I do want to say, first off, thank you very much for having me here. You're very kind with your words. When we first started, I was still pretty green myself, by the way. So, it was 2 very green people who had really never met asking to do something together. But, I think, obviously, we're doing it again this long after the fact.
Yes.
We did something right.
It did work. And, speaking of working, we had 4 teams last week that were deep into the playoffs, region championships in high school football. We had Glasgow, Allen County, and Metcalfe County. Bowling Green, of course, wins. They go on. But the 3 other teams lose, end their season. But what a great season it was. And Jeff, when you look at Glasgow, year in and year out, they are always contenders, whether it was in 2A or in 3A.
Well, Glasgow has kind of been one of those marquee programs in this area for years. And this is their 3rd region title appearance in 4 years. And when I look at Glasgow, the thing that jumps out to me is how diverse they were. They didn't have one star that got the job done. It was an array of people. And, they ended up falling short to Christian Academy, which is up near my neck of the woods. They're a great program, too, so no reason to hang your hat on coming up short. And it was a close game.
Yeah, it was a very, very fine program. Another fine program, of course, I refer to them as the Fighting Hoods. The Allen County Scottsville team.
That guy's still around?
He is still around. He is still around and doing a fantastic job. He gets the most out of his players. He just works so hard. They would run through a brick wall for him. But they had a little hiccup on Friday night, and they were able to reschedule the game on Saturday. But they fall to a very good Franklin County team who passes, I think, for over 1,800 yards. But real quickly, just, they had a great season.
Well, it was a good season for the Patriots. And, it's their first region final appearance since 2010. And that was their state runner-up campaign, and we remember that very well. It was such a good team. It was good to see Brad Hood and company, get back to that level of the playoffs, and I'm sure that they want even more next year too.
Yeah, he is such a fine coach, and he like I said, he just does a great job in getting the most out of his players, and they will run through many, many brick walls for him. But Jeff, We're going to take a short break, and when we come back in the next block, we're going to talk to LJ Harbison about Metcalfe County football and the historic season that they had right here on WNKY NBC 40. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, LJ Harbison will join us right here.
You're watching the Sporting Time Show on WNKY 40.
Welcome back to the show. The name Harbison is synonymous with Metcalfe County football. For 22 seasons, there has been a Harbison as the head coach of Metcalfe County football. Joining me right now is the current head coach of Metcalfe County, LJ Harbison. Coach, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Doug, for having us on. We're always great to get on the show, Sporting Time.
You know, I mentioned 22 seasons with the Harbison being at the helm. And you and I have talked about this before. Your dad, Larry Harbison, a number of years as the head coach. And then your uncle, Fred Harbison, took over for a couple of seasons. I think you've been there since, Coach, what, 2014, 15?
Yeah, this year was 6 years.
Yeah, so
yeah.
This is, you know, football in Metcalfe County is a little bit more, I think, for the Harbison family. I mean, you as a family have really invested in that program. Just kind of talk about that.
Yeah, we love Metcalfe County. We love the game of football, and I was born and raised in the color maroon for the Metcalfe County on the sidelines, watching him coach and then getting to play for him, and then going off and to play college football, and then watching my uncle take over the program, and then coming back and helping him for a year as an assistant coach. And then, you know, my heart was just always there, and always has been, and always will. And when I had the chance to take it over, and you know, I was jumping for it, and I've taken it over in the last 6 years, and it's been a great ride. We've had our ups and our downs, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
You know, one of many things I admire about the Harbison family is, you know, you're in a 2A program that sometimes can be double digit as far as like maybe 24 players, 22 players one season. It could be 30 players. But you guys never complain. You never complain about the numbers. You never complain about the conditions. You just go out and coach and get the most out of your players that you can.
Yeah, we like to pride ourselves on being hard work and discipline. And I thought our team did a great job this year. And in years past, we've done that same. Yeah, there's no complaining around our program. Well, I hate the word I can't. We don't use that in the weight room or on the field. So the kids got to find a way to do it. And we preach those things, you know, from my dad to my uncle, now to myself. We just try to find a way to make things successful or make it as fun as we can.
Well, what a season you had this year. And I'm not a big proponent of preseason polls unless you're inside the program. Last season, you guys were 1-9. Some polls had you finishing 4th out of 5 teams in the district. You come out this year and win the district, the first time you've won a district championship in 13 seasons, Coach. But you also, there we go, we got LJ right there. This is the first time I think that you got a road playoff victory in the history. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe you're right. It's been a while since we made it to the playoffs, especially going that far. 2007 was the last time we were district champions, so it's been a while.
So what do you think the biggest difference was, Coach, between last season's team and this year's team? It was such a turnaround.
Yeah, well, we returned a lot of people on both sides of football. I think we returned 7 or 8 starters on both sides of football. So they had got some playing experience and it showed this year as well. But last year, what they don't see is that those 1-9, we lost 5 ball games by a touchdown or less. This year, we were able to go up and get over that hump and, you know, turn those 1 touchdown losses into a win. And we pride ourselves on our off-season conditioning and our program. And I thought our boys handled the 2020 COVID situation very well. We took some things out of that we'll probably use in the future that in those groups of pod, it broke down the coaching a little bit even more than what it usually is during the off season. So we'll carry some of those things over from the COVID situation onto some years to come, because we got some good things out of that.
Coach, we've got about 30 seconds. Tell me, where is the district trophy now? Where's that located at?
Yeah, it's in the locker room. I went up there this morning, started cleaning up, and started getting ready for next season. So that and the region runner-up trophy it's sitting in the locker room. So those boys, when they get back to clean out their lockers, they'll get to see that, and hopefully it'll show them a little motivation to get ready for next season.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, great family, great coaching history. Say hello to your dad, Larry, for me. Always have admired him as well, and look forward to seeing you next season during Media Day.
Yes, sir. I always thank y'all for having us on, and go Mecca.
Thank you very much, Coach. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk to a head coach's wife right here on Sporting Time Show. We'll be right back.
The ST Show is on WNKY 40 NBC. For the athletes, for the game.
Welcome back to the show. From time to time, we will have a head coach's wife on the show. It's been a while, but I am very excited to introduce our next guest. She is the wife, and I hate to introduce her like that because she is her own person, but she is the wife of the head coach of the Bowling Green Purples, Mark Spader. Joining me now is his wife, Amy Spader. How are you, Amy?
Hey, Doug. Great.
Thank you for being on the show. And again, you are a very accomplished person. You are a nurse practitioner. You have your own life. You do your own things. But yeah, I introduced you as the coach's wife. And by the way, thank you very much for what you do, because you put yourself out there every single day as a nurse practitioner, and we certainly applaud you for that. So, Amy, we are deep into the playoffs, and of course, Bowling Green is in the semifinals. By the time the show airs, we will know if they beat Covington Calf. I say they will. But what is it like? Is it different in your household during the regular season as far as the emotion, as far as what it's like versus postseason, or is it pretty much the same every Thursday night leading into a Friday night game?
I would say, Bowling Green obviously plays a really tough schedule. So our schedule varies week to week, kind of depending on who we're playing. And not that any one game is not more important than another, but they obviously have different focus. Yep. And we definitely feel that at our house. It is very regimented. And so a typical week has, a Sunday meeting, a Monday. I know how long, each evening is going to be for us. Thursdays are my favorite day personally, because that's the shortest day of the week. But yeah, very regimented. So week to week, I will say we will hit a point about mid-season that, things kind of drag maybe a bit, and we have to kind of, as a family, circle back around a little bit. And so this is the fun time of year for me. This is where, I get the nervous stomach for Friday games, and I absolutely get as nervous as the players do, for sure.
Both of your sons, Andrew and Evan, played. Evan just recently graduated. Is it different now that your sons aren't playing? Has it become a little less pressure, or how different is it?
So for me, yes. When this season started, of course, this has been a very unusual season for all of us. And so we were very, very happy and lucky that we were able to play. And so that's almost been a week-to-week scenario, fingers crossed, hoping we can play, that everything is going to fall into where it needs to be. But I will say, even those early games that we had, we played St. X early, we played PRP early. Even when we played South Warren the first time, I remarked to Mark and said, I have to tell you, it's a lot less stressful not having a kid on the field. But, the last couple of weeks, as we've hit the playoffs, I have that same feeling that I had when Evan was playing. Kind of our family funny, which they'll probably not be happy with me for talking about this, but
Good.
We had those big fat heads last year that we held in the crowd. And we always say that Evan is the luckiest person in our family. And so Evan's fat head has been traveling to games with me this year as well.
Well, I had the opportunity to interview Evan many, many times, and he is a great young man, and we certainly miss him at the high school ranks. But we've got about a minute left, Amy, and I want to ask you, do you ever get Mark's ear and say, hey, Mark, maybe you should have thrown the pass instead of doing that running play? Do you ever give him any advice?
No, I have to say that's not an Amy Spader role. So my comments are a lot lighter than that for sure. My question is always going to be a question.
Any pregame meals that are a must-go-to in the household?
Mark and I have a definite regiment every week. So on Friday afternoons, we eat lunch together and we eat at the same restaurant, the same food every week, as long as we're winning. And then if we don't win, then we change to a new restaurant. So currently we are eating at Cane's. So we hope we have a couple more weeks of Cane's.
Fantastic. Amy, thank you very much. Good luck on Friday night. Thank you very much. We're going to take a short
Doug.
break.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. More of the Sporting Times when we return.
You're watching the Sporting Times show on WNKY 40 NBC. Check out stfanclub.com. And remember, like us on Facebook and follow ST on Twitter.
Welcome back to the show again. Thank you, LJ Harbison and Amy Spader, for being our guest today. Jeff, we got to get into a little high school basketball. We don't know. It's supposed to start January 4th. Not sure that's going to happen. But you and I picked a couple of teams out to talk about. I'm going to let you kick it off with the defending 4th region champion, Warren Central Dragons.
Well, nothing much has changed, in the last several years. It's always Warren Central, Bowling Green. The question every year, can anyone outside of those two teams break through and represent the 4th region? Specifically Warren Central, though, they've got a little bit of an uphill battle this year. They lost 11 seniors,
wow.
Top 8 scorers gone off of a defending 4th region champion. We know it's Warren Central. They're always going to be there. That's going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, it is going to be a big challenge. And the other team in that 4th region final is the Bowling Green Purples. And, of course, he's back. If we had some Terminator music, we could say DG Sherrill is back after a few years off. Derek Clubb leaves the program. DG is back, but he brings with him where he stays Isaiah Mason, their number 1 scorer for the Purples, will be returning. But they return 8 seniors to that Bowling Green Purples team. So they're going to be very, very strong going into this season. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. And I know you have another team on your radar.
Well, obviously you've got 14th district teams such as South Warren, Warren East, Greenwood that want to try to knock those two off, Central and Bowling Green. Specifically with South Warren, they have a new head coach, Jason Holland. Will be his first year with the Spartans. He replaces Blaine Embry. And, I'm not sure this area knows a whole lot about him, but the guy can coach. He has 2 8th region titles back in 2011 and 2012 with Oldham County. So the guy knows how to get deep into the postseason. And, they're trying to improve on a 16-15 record. And I think he believes he can win. I think that's why he came here.
Yeah, and, another team in the 14th district, Greenwood Gators, led by Coach Will McCoy, 17-14 last year, a very, very strong program. They say goodbye to 5 seniors, one being Big Ben Carroll, but they bring back Cade Stennett, who was their leading scorer as a sophomore last year, and he's a tremendous player, could be the 4th region player of the year. And so watch out for Greenwood.
Yeah, well, and anytime you have a returning sophomore that is that highly touted. It's
Yeah.
going to be a good couple years for Greenwood, I'm sure. And then also you've got Warren East. Tough season for the Raiders last year, 6-21. Brandon Combs, however, back for his 7th season. They do return their leading scorer, however, in Caleb Matlock. So, the 14th district, it's always competitive, and it doesn't matter what the record is. So, again, it's going to be Bowling Green, Warren Central, as it always has been. But, eventually someone's going to break through, and why not this year?
Well, one of those teams that could break through is the Barron County Trojans. Will Cunningham is returning every single one of his starters off of last year's team. Last year, 23-9. They are the real deal. If there was ever a time that a team could maybe knock off a 4th region team, it would be this season. Not saying it's going to happen because it's really hard to do, but Coach Cunningham, you know him, Jeff. He is such a talented coach, great X's and O's. But when you bring back your 5 starters after a 23-9 record, things are looking up.
Well, and Barron County has been knocking on the door for
Yes, they
several
have.
years now, and I believe you. I think if there's a program that is going to do it, Barron is probably right at the top of that list. But there has been no 4th region team other than a 14th district team to win the region since 2000, I believe, and it was Russellville. So it's going to be hard, but it's not impossible, of course. That's why you play the games.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Of course, Jeff and I are just scratching the surface. We got a lot more heading into the upcoming weeks. Big KHSAA meeting coming up to determine if basketball starts on January 4th or if they push it back even further. We will keep you posted. A couple of announcements. First of all, Jeff, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Really appreciate you inviting me down here.
It's been fantastic. I do want to mention real quickly, I want to say hello to somebody very, very special to me. My mother, Marie Thompson, is over at a retirement center in Bowling Green. Because of isolation, because of quarantine, I have not been able to see her, but she calls me and tells me she loves this show. I wonder why. A message to Mom, I love you. Thank you for watching. We will see you soon. And to all the grandmothers, moms, and dads that can't be with their family, we send them our best as well. We also want to mention directly after this show, you are going to have to check out the Great CCK Camp Out airing right after the Sporting Times. Check it out. It's going to be a great event. Jeff, again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, we will see you next week. Have a safe week. Join us every Saturday at 6 p.m. right here on WNKY. Take care.